Today is a very special day for all of us at Rajshri. Well, in case you've not noticed, we just touched 3 million subscribers. You, the ones who've showered us with so much love and affection over so many years. Well, today for this occasion, I'm making a very special mithai. Let's head to the kitchen. Well, today's recipe uses this spectacular ingredient called dried anjeer, and I'm going to show you how to make my version, my style of Anjeer Ki Barfi. Well, this can be made in several ways. You can also make this with milk, but that kind of has a texture like Kalakand. But this one is only loaded with dry fruits. Let's begin. Anjeer Ki Barfi, like I said, could be made in several ways. Making a Kalakand and then kind of infusing it or flavoring it with anjeer is one of the many ways, but this one, again like I said, is heavily loaded with nuts. What's important here is to take dried anjeer and not fresh anjeer or fresh figs. It's important to primarily clean the piece of fig. Now you see the pieces of twine, thread, hay, grass, anything that's used to kind of create this beautiful garland of anjeer or figs. It's primarily important to also understand where figs originated and how we landed on this garland. In 1769, Father Junipero Serra planted this somewhere in California, and it took almost 150 years to get it commercially grown. And then they kind of realized that this cannot travel because it's a soft fruit. It kind of gets those cotton balls very quickly, very immediately. So dehydrating in a combination of shade and sun started. And then, of course, the garlands came in because twining happened. Then they kind of also laced it. And that's how the beauty of dried anjeer came to the world. Interesting, lengthy. Let's come back to the anjeer recipe. I've soaked the pieces of anjeer in water for almost 8 hours. And then when you puncture it, it's almost beautiful, like so. Now these little bits or these little dots are the seeds of anjeer, which add a wonderful bite to this recipe. Of course, now we have different nuts as well, but this is also very important. Let's keep this aside for now and begin the sauteing or frying with heating a pan on medium to high flame and adding in some ghee. Little, not too much, because this recipe eventually is going to use a lot of ghee again. Let's begin with cashew nuts and saute this till they turn lightly golden brown in color. While this is sauteing, I'm also going to add in almonds, and these are whole almonds as you see. The nuts are toasted. Let's move these out. And similarly, let's start frying the pistachios as well. Pistachios as a nut are very fragile, and this would not take a lot of time to kind of get pan fried. So keep a very watchful eye. Low, slow is the way to go. Let's transfer these as well. And similarly, let's also kind of pan fry the melon seeds. Melon seeds, charmagas, or watermelon seeds, they're all the same. This could possibly need another dose of ghee. Now these seeds are even more delicate than pistachios. Be very careful, these would discolor very fast. Let's transfer this as well. Now you'd be wondering why I kind of pan fried almonds and cashews together, pistachios separately and melon seeds separately. Very interesting. Cashew nuts and almonds are going to be ground together, rather crushed together in a very gritty form. Pistachios are going to be part of the recipe, and they're also going to be used as garnish. Melon seeds also would be part of the recipe and garnish. So these two separately and these two together. Very intelligent, I must say. Let's move on to the next step, and that is squeezing a little water out of the anjeer. Well, it's not going to be too much because most of the water has been absorbed already. So let's take half of this quantity. The beauty of this Anjeer Ki Barfi is that it's going to be slightly squashed when it comes to the anjeer and slightly chunky. Of course, the anjeer is going to play a role and the nuts are also going to play a major role in the bite. Let's roughly chop this and keep this aside for now. The chopping is done and ready. Let's transfer this straight into the same pan. Let's turn the flame on. Well, ghee can be added as per your choice. A little more, a little less is absolutely perfect and fine. Let's move this around the whole pan. and saute this for a while. It could take a minute or so. Do not overdo this because you do not want caramelization of any form. The whole idea of this is to intensify the flavor and nothing else. While this is happening, let's also quickly start crushing the other ingredients. Beginning with this combination of cashews and almonds, followed by half the quantity of pistachios and half the quantity of melon seeds. This is ground and ready. The whole idea here is to get it gritty and also chunky at the same time. Do not powder it completely because that's not what you're looking at. Let's transfer this straight in the anjeer that is getting cooked. In the same jar, let's run the remaining anjeer also into a smooth and fine paste. The anjeer is ground and ready, and this time, like I said, it's nice and pasty. Of course, it has the grits and the seeds, and that's mandatory. Let's transfer this as well into the mixture that is getting cooked. Let's increase the flame and begin stirring. The whole idea here is not only stirring this, but also evaporating the moisture. Let's add in the remaining amount of ghee as well. And with this, I'm also adding sugar. Now, in case you're looking at a sugar-free or a sugarless recipe, avoid the sugar. Just continue cooking the anjeer mix till it kind of becomes like a clot or a lump. You can also add in jaggery by all means. Let's mix all this well and continue cooking. The whole idea of adding sugar in this recipe is not only to sweeten this mix, but also to bring in that shine or that glaze which is required for a burfi. It also kind of increases the keeping time of this recipe. Keep scraping the sides, keep scraping the bottom, because you do not want this mixture, this burfi mix, to caramelize or begin caramelizing. This entire process is going to take at least 15 to 20 minutes. You need to constantly keep stirring this because, like I said earlier, you do not want burnt spots anywhere in this burfi. Once this starts clumping together, you'll also start noticing that ghee starts releasing from the bottom or sides of the pan. That's the time when the flame goes off. Now, we've still not reached that stage. It's going to take another 4 to 5 minutes. Low and slow is the way to go. This entire mixture has now come together. At this stage, I'm going to flavor this with some green cardamom, which is crushed. Now, this is again an optional ingredient. You can use it or choose to avoid. It's completely a personal choice. You can flavor this with some salt or ginger powder as well. And that's also going to be a lovely flavor for Anjeer Ki Barfi. With this, off goes the flame. And this entire burfi mixture gets transferred in a mold. Time to flatten this burfi with a spatula or the back of a spoon or even a back of a glass. It's absolutely fine and perfect. If you notice, I have not really greased the tray because this burfi is loaded with ghee. This burfi literally screams richness from all corners. Let's add some final bit of garnish, beginning with melon seeds that were kept aside, followed by pistachios. But this time, we're going to chop these roughly. Let's add this now. It's also important to leave a little space so that the seeds of anjeer are also seen. Do not want to mistake this for any other burfi. Let's tap this so that they kind of get embedded on the top layer. You can finally also garnish this with some silver work, and that's also absolutely perfect. I'm also going to place some whole anjeer pieces so they just scream like anjeer or Anjeer Barfi from all sides. Allow this to now set at room temperature for at least 2 to 3 hours. It's been 4 hours and Anjeer Ki Barfi has wonderfully set. Time to cut this into different shapes. Well, I'm cutting a nice little rectangle. With this, your super nutritious Anjeer Ki Barfi is done and ready. While there's still a little nip in the season, make this and warm the cockles of your heart. Bye for now.